What's up guys, Adam Drake here, and today I want to talk about glued inserts. And what I mean by that is, or referring to, is gluing the closed cell insert to the wheel. Now, it's not something that we do in most conditions, but from time to time there are track conditions where gluing the insert to the wheel. Another option is to also use a two-sided carpet tape to secure the insert to the wheel. But it is something that we do from time to time, and it will reduce a little bit of forward bite, but it will allow everything to be a little bit more precise and have a little bit more stable side bite. And the reason for that is it's gonna secure the foam to the wheel to where it can't kind of shift and move slightly. Now, if you're running on higher grip conditions where you can just run a harder tire, you won't really need to do this. But there are times, like at the Dirt Nitro Challenge, it was really cold and the overall grip was good, but I wouldn't say great. And because it was cold conditions and because the track was very high speed, had a lot of kind of sweeping turns, we ended up running the J-Concepts green compound, which is a pretty soft compound, to give us the grip. And then in truck, we secured the insert to the wheel to then give it that little bit of stability. So you give up a little bit of forward bite to gain the stability, but we are already running a tread pattern and a compound that gave us a lot of forward bite. So it was just a really good balance. Some guys did it in buggy also. Personally, I only did it on truck. I did test it at one point, I think on my electric buggy. But overall, I like the feel of just standard inserts mounted to the wheel, not secured to the wheel. But in truck, it was a pretty big difference. It really helped make the truck a little bit more precise and just allowed you to kind of push the truck to the limit in the faster sweeping sections of the track. So ideally, you would want to do that before mounting your tires. It's pretty simple. Just go ahead and you slide the insert over the wheel. You can pull the insert back a little bit, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit, and just put a little bit of glue, continue to work that all the way around on both sides. Or you can use the two-sided carpet tape, which is really thin, sticks to the wheel, and then the insert sticks to that. Now, at the DNC, I did a little promo video for Live RC. And when we were doing the video, I was in the process of gluing the inserts to the wheel on a set of tires that I had already mounted and run. So I had a few questions about that, just wanting to know what I was doing and why I did it. So that's the purpose of this video. But I'm gonna take it a little bit farther and I'm gonna show you how I cut the inner bead, flip the tire inside out, glue the insert to the wheel, flip the tire back to the right direction and glue the tire back together. I will say when or if you do this, be super careful. You're obviously using a really sharp hobby knife. This works best if you use a brand new blade. It ends up cutting through the tire really easy. If you're using a dull blade, you have to kind of force and use a bit more pressure, and I actually think it's more dangerous. So if you do this, please use caution, be very careful, but we'll go ahead, take a closer look. I'll show you how I cut the inner bead, and then how I glue the insert and then re-glue the bead back to the area where I cut. Okay, so here we have a closer look. And again, I just want to stress, be very careful when doing this. You're obviously using a sharp hobby knife. I prefer using a brand new blade because it cuts through the rubber of the tire much easier. But what you'll want to do is you're going to want to take the hobby knife and position it as close to the mounting bead on the wheel as possible so that you're cutting through the area where it's glued to the wheel. You'll want to make sure that the hobby knife is straight up and down and as straight as possible. And then you're going to want to just kind of grip the hobby knife and just slowly work it around at the same arc or angle of the wheel. And Be super careful, take your time. There's no need to kind of rush. If you rush it, you can slip and then actually damage the tire. So if you just take your time, make really slow, small movements, and just continue to work the hobby knife around the mounting bead until you get all the way back around to where you started. Another little tip you can do, I didn't do it here in the video, but something that you could do if you do try this yourself is to mark the wheel with a Sharpie, just to mark the starting point when you start cutting the mounting bead. That way you know as you're getting close to finishing cutting all the way around. Because what happens sometimes as you're getting to that area that you've already cut and you break through the last little bit of rubber that you're cutting, sometimes you can slip with the hobby knife. And this way it just makes it a little bit safer and easier to know when you've completed cutting all the way around the mounting bead. From there, you'll see there's sometimes little areas of the mounting bead where you maybe didn't cut all the way through. So I'll just start to peel back the tire and then go all the way around and make sure I kind of clean up and detach the rubber from the wheel all the way around. That way it makes it much easier to flip the tire inside out, pull the bead back, and get ready to secure the insert to the wheel. The next step is going to be after you flip the tire inside out, you're just going to want to kind of work and reposition the insert just to make sure that it's sitting square on the wheel, especially because with gluing the insert, you want to make sure that it's square. If it's offset, it can make the tire out of balance. And from there, you're just going to apply a really thin amount of glue. You're going to try to evenly spread that glue throughout the mounting area and kind of just work your way all the way around the wheel. And then once you've made your way all the way around on the one side, you're going to go ahead and just kind of work the foam again a little bit just to make sure that the insert is kind of secured and glued to the wheel good. And then you will flip it over and do the same process on the other side. The reason why I prefer to use standard glue is because sometimes with thin glue, it can run out the other side and can kind of make a bit of a mess. So with the standard glue, it will run a little bit, but usually not enough to where it will run all the way over the other side of the tire. So another option is to use the carpet tape, but from there I'll just take the insert, kind of work it around in my hand just to make sure that the insert is fully kind of secured and seated on the wheel. And then I will flip the tire back to the normal orientation. I will tuck the mounting bead just as if it was a brand new tire. You just want to go ahead and be really careful to make sure that it's tucked all the way in and seated really nicely to the wheel. And then from there, you're basically just going to go ahead and re-glue the tire as if it was a brand new tire. Sometimes when you cut, there are little jagged areas and stuff like that, and that's where you're going to want to just make sure that everything is kind of seated really nice before you start the glue process. Once you have everything in order, you'll just grab your glue, and again, just like you would glue a brand new set of tires, you'll want to make sure that the glue is all the way down so that the whole mounting bead area gets a thin coat of glue, and just kind of work the tire around, make sure that there's no gaps in the glue joint, and continue to work the glue all the way around the tire. Once you have the whole tire glued, I go ahead and I'll use a ProTech or a J Concepts mounting band to kind of help push and secure the tire to the wheel. Then you can go ahead, take a shop towel, wipe off any of the excess glue. Again, you're just doing this the same as you would gluing a new set of tires. If you want to, you can take, and just to make sure that you have a good bond all the way around the tire, you can go ahead and apply a little bit of extra glue all the way around the mounting bead, wipe it off with a blue shop towel, and then let that sit and dry for a couple minutes. And as you can see, it's really difficult to tell that the tire was ever cut and re-glued. As long as you take your time, reposition the tire, and go ahead and glue the surface back to the rubber surface that you cut through. And now you can test the tires with the insert glued to the wheel without having to mount a complete new set of tires to test this.